All over your social media pages, you're likely seeing picture after picture of friends showing off those little I voted stickers or perhaps their mail-in ballots.
Yeah, pretty interesting this year, right? So many early voters 1 week away right now from Election Day itself. But Election Day is really more of the finish line of election month in Minnesota anyway.
Election like 6 weeks, really.
Yeah, it's quite a long early voting season that people get. So, Heather, you took a look at who is voting early because I have this gut instinct that a lot of the hot takes on who the early voters actually are will turn out to be wrong, that we really don't know that much. Is it Democrats? Is it Republicans? Is it city? Is it greater Minnesota? What is it?
You're right. And the political scientists would agree with you that there's still a lot we cannot tell. It is too early. We can't tell if all these early voters will mean that overall turnout is huge this year.
Yeah, is this
Some
more
polling indicates that could be the case, but you can't really make any inferences from the people that are showing up at the polls right now because there's a variety of reasons why they're showing up, right? Maybe it's the pandemic, maybe they're worried about safety, maybe it's just convenience there. Maybe it's enthusiasm. Maybe it's a combination of all three.
You went yesterday around lunchtime, right? And I saw yesterday people starting to post pictures on social media of lines. That there are waits at some of these early voting centers, right?
Yes, there are. And in St. Paul, they've told me that they've had waits for a while. Yesterday, though, it was very cold. And so you had people out there 30 minutes or so in line, but all of them said that they wanted to do that they thought it was important. Nobody got out of that line. And once they got in there, it moved very quickly.
Why did they wait in line yesterday instead of waiting in line on Election Day? What's the difference?
I think some people probably didn't know that you could vote on the weekends because it was that weekend voting really only started this past weekend.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is when you look at the number of people who have already voted. It's 1.2 million?
Right. And what I wanted to do was put this in perspective a little bit, because a lot of times we throw out these numbers, and what does that really mean?
Right.
So we looked at it percentage-wise. It's 1/3 of all registered voters in Minnesota.
Okay.
Or you could look at it this way. Of all the people who voted in 2016 for the presidential election, it's 40% of those people. So it's, 40% of all. So there's still a large number of people you would suspect, more than half, that will still use this last week to vote or will vote in person.
But still, 2 out of 5 voters, if it's the same group that voted last time around, we don't know.
That's another point. We don't know. Is it infrequent voters? Is it people that just would have voted on Election Day anyway? It's hard to tell. Who knows? Right, exactly.
It'll be interesting.
Here in Minnesota, we don't register by party, so we don't really know, who is showing up early? Is it Republicans? Is it Democrats? In states that do, they're showing more Democrats are showing up early, but again, it's not going to tell us a ton about overall turnout.
All right. 1 million eligible voters did not vote in 2016, so you got to remember that. There are a lot of people who could vote who just don't, and that may be the case again this year. We saw those people waiting in line. Perhaps they are practitioners of the old saying, patience